Sabah everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do a quick review of the brand new iPhone XS Max. I'm going to share with you guys the things that I liked and the things that I did not like after using this device for over 2 weeks. Keep in mind that I upgraded from the iPhone 8 Plus coming into this, so there's that point of view, which I feel like there's a lot of good pluses coming out of there. This is TK, let's check it out. So the first thing on the list, as far as things that I really enjoy, is obviously the size of the display. We went from a 5.5-inch display to a 6.5-inch display, as well as the fact that we have an OLED display on the XS Max. And then, of course, we have a very small notch and, of course, the updated optics in the front that enable us to use the bokeh effect. So if you go under Portrait here, the camera is in the front, and then you can actually switch over to the front. You're still able to use all of the effect that they advertise, as well as, you know, the spotlight, go in natural effect, and you can take these images, focus on where you want them, and then of course do it even post. So if you like to do that, this is definitely very nice. The optics on the back, for the most part, are a nice upgrade, but for the most part, they're kind of similar to the way we had them on the 8 Plus. Now, there's no longer a fingerprint sensor. That's one thing that you want to keep in mind. Face ID is the way to go. Actually, in 2018, there is no longer a model that includes it, where last year, the 8 Plus and the 8 were the only two that had it. But keep in mind, again, if you like to use these, you can always pick them up off of like a Swappa or something like that. And one of the other things I really enjoy here is the fact that we have wireless charging. And basically, this will work with any Qi-enabled wireless charger. You just need to have it on, basically, either, like I say, a Starbucks or somewhere. You can put your device and it'll start charging for you very easily. And that's one of the reasons they said that they went to the glass-on-glass basically approach. You're getting basically the ability to transmit basically wireless charging technology through here, and it's very, very convenient, especially on the go, so you don't have to worry about bringing your charger with you. One of the other things, obviously, is the fact that we have now better sounding speakers, meaning louder and actually better sounding. So here on the 8 Plus, I'm going to go ahead and play a quick song for you. This is NCS by, well, it's an Alex Crindo Jumbo on NCS. Go ahead and start it off. So go ahead and play it 16 seconds there. Let's go ahead and do this. So that's 24. So there's no question that sound definitely sound a lot better here, louder, and actually has a little bit, sound like it's a little bit bassier on it. Either way, we definitely have better sound now on our brand new XS Plus. Now, I can't go too far without saying the fact that there is something obviously really nice about the fact that the iOS 12 now includes shortcuts. Now, shortcuts are not unique to the XS Plus because you can actually still use them here as long as you have iOS 12. So keep in mind, that's one of the new things I really appreciate, the ability to basically just new post. It opens up Twitter, starts a new post for me, and I can actually go from there. Even better, new post.
Continue on iPhone.
And then you can click the button here, and it'll run it for you too. So shortcuts are functional. They work on the Siri built into your device, and if you have an Apple Watch, you could just initiate it directly from launching Siri without even using the command. Both of these devices I've had an opportunity to test in the pool, and I've done videos on those, and I'll give you guys links to those in the description. But definitely really appreciated is the fact that we can actually not only take our pictures and videos in normal environments, we can even go into the pool without having to worry about anything about the devices. The only thing I will always say to everybody that uses this or tries to do this in the pool is make sure that your device has no cracks, no damage, no dings, nothing that jeopardizes the IP68 certification on this phone. The reason behind that is even the smallest crack will damage and even compromise that IP certification, meaning water could go through that crack and then your phone can just basically get damaged. So don't do anything that you're not comfortable with. Do not put them in the pool or put them in water unless you really want to. And then of course understand that there is a risk there. But if your phone is in pristine case and it's being covered and protected the whole time, you should be pretty easily enjoying something like the fact that I'm showing you right now, a video that I took with my son in the pool, and it's just absolutely fantastic. It takes great pictures and videos underwater.
The last thing I want to talk about as far as one of my favorite things about this device is the fact that we can now record in stereo when we're recording video. For the longest time we've been recording in mono. Most people don't realize it because if they're using it directly from the phone and sharing it, you know, obviously most people have mono speakers, but if you have stereo speakers on the phone, you really should be able to do stereo recording on it. And now we have it.
So definitely one of my favorite parts about this. It's an automatic thing. You don't have to do anything about it, and you don't actually have to go into any kind of settings to turn it on. Whenever you record stereo video now on this phone, you will be getting it in stereo, and when you import it into any kind of editor or software, it'll recognize both channels for you. Now, as far as the things that I did have some concerns with and a little bit of issue with, I'm going to cover them mostly as they could potentially be fixed with software update, but also some of them can also be just sitting here and have been there for years. The first thing is the charging issue. My XS Max is affected by the charging issue, so whenever it does go into sleep mode and there's no activity on it and I plug in the charger, the connected lightning connector at the bottom, the phone will not turn on and start showing that it's charging. When I turn on the screen, it will show that. Now, I've heard basically that this is going to be fixed with a software update that's going to be coming out currently in beta, but it's a little bit of a concern, so just kind of keep an eye on it. If you're charging your phone and it's a brand new 10 or 10S and 10S Max, make sure you at least turn on the display, plug in your cable, and that should circumvent that issue, or if you're using wireless charging, you're definitely set. But again, it should hopefully be fixed by software, but it's kind of a little bit discerning to kind of not know when your device is charging if you ever don't bother to turn it on. Now, the next thing has been on my list of things that I've had an issue with, you know, obviously just functionality in the way the settings are set up for the camera. When you go into the camera, you have the ability of switching modes, and that's true. You can go in there, time-lapse, slow-mo, all of those things, front-facing, back-facing camera. But you can't go in there and change any of the resolutions. To do that, you still have to go into the Settings tab, scroll down till you find the camera. Here it is, camera. In the camera app is all the settings for this. You have to literally get out of an application, go home, go into settings, get into it, go to camera to be able to change to actually record at 4K or go down to 1080p or even 720p. And of course, if you want to change your slow-mo configuration from 120 to 240, you have to go out all the way there. It's a big concern when you're trying to take a shot and you're in the middle of trying to take a shot and you remember that you had it on 1080p last and you want to switch modes. It takes that extra second there and then you lose the shot. That's something that we shouldn't really have it built in here. And I think this comes out because I am an Android user primarily. This always frustrates me because camera should have its own settings, and that's how it should be. Settings should not be sitting in a settings tab away from where the app is. So you can actually configure things the way you want them. Now, speaking of charging, and as I mentioned to you guys, as far as the charging issue should be fixed with software. The fact that we have support for fast charging, wire charging on this device is the fact that we basically need to buy an additional adapter and cable to be able to get this, because out of the box, this $1,100 phone, this is the base model, the $1,100 phone does not include a fast charger with it. It includes the standard brick, which is a frustrating thing for anybody that hears the fact that the phone supports fast charging, but you have to buy an extra accessory. Although, you know, again, it's something that Apple does and has been doing for some time, because this is something that we saw even with the iPhone 10 when this device came out. So it's something that really should not be an issue anymore. Include the fast charger because you're advertising it. The last thing on my list, and I promise that will be the last thing I'm going to mention here, is it's just a little bit of functionality. I like the fact that I enjoy using iOS. iOS has a lot of functionality. You can press and hold here. The new iOS 12 with the new options to be able to dig into a little bit more into the settings is very functional. Going home, going into the Recents app, and then of course you can actually open up, let's go into this app, and then we can of course swipe between applications. It's very functional, it's very nice. I like all of these options and all these customizations. But why, when I want to be able to put my icon right here, I can't do that. I cannot customize my grid to the way I want it. I can move it to a new page, but if I want to move it down here, does not make sense. No customizations on the icon home screen, and that's a little bit frustrating. Your widgets are sitting on the side panel, which I understand for customizations. Your notifications are actually very, very nice. We have now the grouping customizations, which is really good. And of course, clearing all works very, very nice. I'm not complaining there. It just really give us the ability to customize our home screens to the way we want them. What if we just want to have apps sitting all around and keeping an openness here so that we can take a full feature of a basically, let's say, a good background in the back. So again, just little things that kind of would have made the situation a little bit better. And most of my complaints, if you know, are software upgradable. So what do I think about the iPhone XS Max? I think it's definitely the best iPhone on the market to date. Even when the iPhone XR comes out, that's really more considered to be a budget size compared to the fact that we have now an $1,100 starting point on the XS Max and $1,000 at the XS. So keep in mind that $799 is actually considered to be a budget phone in Apple's ecosystem. But for me, big phones, big screens have always been a thing that I use. So the Note is obviously a 6.3-inch display, 6.4, and then of course the Note 9, and the Note 10 from Honor is 6.93, which is almost 7-inch display. So as long as they're usable and they definitely have the longer form factor, I think a lot of us will enjoy having more screen and less bezels. And I think Apple did definitely listen to their users, and I'm happy with the fact that the XS Max exists as a phone. Would I recommend you upgrading if you had the 10? Only if you want a bigger display. If you had the 8 Plus or the 7 Plus, this is an easy and natural move into a bigger display, a bigger, better iPhone. It works great, obviously, with all the ecosystems. I've been using it with the Series 4 Apple Watch and enjoying it. The connection speeds, again, I wouldn't compare them to Samsung devices. They definitely have better modems on them, but it's pretty fast for an iPhone and what you're able to use out of it. So sharing, using, having fun with the iPhone is going to be great. If you're considering the XS Max, for me, I went with the smaller size as far as the internal storage because I offload a lot of my images on the Google Photos. So for me, it wasn't really a big issue for having a smaller storage. You cannot expand it. That's something you want to keep in mind. But other than that, it's a great phone to check out. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think of the brand new iPhone XS, XS Max, and if you're looking forward to the XR, if you'd like me to show some coverage of that here on the channel. This is TK. Thank you for the support, and I'll see you guys in the next video.